If you're watching this video, you probably visited this institution or still go to school. School is often the number one reason for things like stress, anxiety, and just overall frustration. And if you've been watching my channel and noticed the 17-day gap between the previous video and the last video, well, the short answer is school. But what exactly makes school so filled with stress, anxiety, and just overall unenjoyable? To answer this question, let's actually go back to why school exists in the first place. I mean, the core purpose of school is to give students certain skill sets, for example, reading, writing, doing math, and these skill sets allow the state to, in a way, make better use of people. Take Singapore, for example. In 1947, Singapore was one of the worst slums in the world, having no natural resources, being a tiny island, and the only thing really going for them was their strategic location in the Strait of Malacca. But this all changed when this guy, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, focused on building an efficient universal education system that would provide a skilled workforce. He had a vision that even though Singapore, as I already mentioned, doesn't really have any natural resources, the population would be the nation's most important asset. Today, Singapore has the third highest GDP per capita and frequently appears in the top 5 countries with the best education in the world. And of course they have their own problems, but this was just to show you how important skill sets are. And now ask yourself, what skill sets have I actually learned in school apart from reading, writing and basic math? Skill sets that you actually use on a daily basis. To be fair, it might be 1 or 2, and if you went to vocational school, this number might be even higher. But the point is, you're spending 10, 11, maybe even 12 years in this institution, and what you're learning is not really skills, but more facts. And facts by themselves aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the ratio of facts and skill sets that's bad. Because in our age, an excessive amount of information is actually obsolete. But then you might say, okay, I have actually been learning skill sets in school. However, I didn't really enjoy it. And that leads us to the second point of the video, which is all about mistakes. Because if you're learning something, you always make mistakes, whether they're big or small. Take riding a bike, for example. Of course you're going to fall at some point when learning how to ride a bike. But is that realistically going to stop you? I do not think so. The mistake itself is always going to have some kind of punishment, whether it's falling off a bike and hurting yourself or just the feeling of failure. And then school proceeds to add another layer of punishment. And in consequence, students and later adults don't learn from their mistakes and try to be better, but rather avoid the task or the issue that has to be faced, because school told them that punishment will always be greater than reward. And of course there are teachers that actually try to motivate you, that try to make the subject look interesting. But let's be honest, that is a very small minority. And overall, school has massively discouraged individual learning. I, however, massively encourage individual learning and acquiring new skills, new skill sets, and maybe even languages. And I massively encourage you to like, subscribe, as well as comment on this video in order to learn new methods to improve your life. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and stay tuned for the next one.